Mario Balotelli, one of the greatest strikers in recent memory, once said about his muted goal celebrations. When I score, I don't celebrate because I'm only doing my job. When a postman delivers letters, does he celebrate? When New York City puts on a World Cup that is organized, that is safe, that runs smoothly and easily, will we celebrate? No, because we are only doing our job.
Well, look at that. It's the communist, Marxist, socialist, all the lists, mayor of New York that's making FIFA accessible and welcoming for all.
We're so excited to announce that we were going to be delivering $1,050 tickets to the World Cup just for New Yorkers. Now, last year when I was running for this position, I spoke about how New Yorkers deserved to have cheaper tickets to actually make sure that they could go and see the magic of the World Cup, not just have to feel it in the city that they know as their home. Today, we announced that thanks to a partnership with the New York, New Jersey Host Committee, we're doing exactly that. These 1,000 tickets are going to be sold $50 a pop to New York City residents. All you have to be is older than 15 years old and live in our city. I'm sorry to Philly sports fans, that does not apply to you. Now, the way that you actually enter into this lottery is on Monday, Memorial Day at 10 a.m. We're going to open up this lottery from 10 a.m. to midnight, and it's going to be open every day for the next 5 days. You can enter into the lottery once a day. We're capping it at 50,000 entries per day. And if you win the chance to get a ticket, you'll also get the chance to buy an additional ticket, either for a family or friend or whomever you'd like. And with that ticket is going to come free bus travel from New York City to the stadium. Because we know that just as much as ticket pricing has been a prohibitive part,
it would normally be such a moment of excitement and even pride to have our country be hosting the World Cup games. But it comes at this really hard time for so many Americans, whether or not people are being rounded up for ICE and their loved ones are being held in detention center, and the hunger strike, the attacks on free speech, just the lawlessness, the corruption, the fact that people can't even get a living wage and they're seeing their president just literally take money from the American government with suing them for this slush fund. And the chaos is just really dampening the enthusiasm for the games. But the mayor of New York is a shining star, offering free fan zones, offering tickets at reduced prices. I mean, this is how we want to welcome people to the games. This is how we would want our leaders, even the president, to make the games more accessible for people, so people could just have fun. Do you remember that? Seems like nothing can just be for fun anymore. And seeing what Mamdani is doing in New York to make sure that not only do they host games, but they host it in a way where the people who live in that city and work in the city can help and just participate in it. It is such an optimistic action that despite the fact that I don't live in New York, I'm celebrating it. And I think so many of us seeing it are celebrating it because it gives hope and some measure of joy in the fact that we are, as a country, hosting these games.
What do you think the reaction will be like to him? I think we saw at the US Open in the tennis, he was booed. Do you think that could happen again?
It was fascinating at the Club World Cup final because I was actually sat in the in with fans for that game, and he was booed when he came onto the field. But then I went on Twitter, and all of those accounts that kind of say how wonderful President Trump was were saying that he got a standing ovation and a fantastic response. And I kind of looked at the person who I was with at that game and questioned if I was going mad, because all of a sudden these reports emerged. It was almost kind of, the kind of reports you might hear from kind of North Korea about wonderful ovation for the leader.
Unfortunately, the person who's sitting in the Oval Office, who's supposed to be leading our entire country, Trump, is focused on his own ego fest game, that UFC champion game he's putting together on the White House lawn, who now he says it might be a permanent fixture on the White House lawn. Something he has already changed and destroyed the Rose Garden, Jackie Rose Garden, to put what looks like just a cafe out there. A cafe, of course, where they're selling, I'm sure, tickets to come for a huge amount of money. It's just another way of grifting off the American people. Of course, the White House is exclusive, and he's selling tickets to this exclusive club for his own benefit. So taking away this historic Rose Garden to just sell tickets, I'm not that surprised that he now plans on just putting up a UFC fight, and I'm sure he plans on taking a cut of those tickets. I cannot imagine he's doing that without some way of making money off of it. This is the contrast. This is the contrast. Mamdani out there trying to make everybody participate in the World Cup games, and then Trump trying to create a game tied, sure, maybe, to the birth of the celebration of the country, but definitely tied to his 80th birthday. And I'll say that again, his 80th birthday. The president, of course, who just had 3 visits to the medical center and falls asleep at every time, every press conference, turning 80, wanting to have his own UFC fight, this ego-driven fest, rather than trying to celebrate Americans. And in the meantime, the World Cup, the hotels are struggling to actually get filled up. I mean, this was supposed to be a tourism boom, but instead tourism is way down in the United States because of horror stories of what people traveling here were detained. I mean, back a year ago even, these stories have been out there. And so it deters tourists from coming if they think that based on the color of their skin or their accent, they will be rounded up thanks to Kavanaugh stops that allowed racial profiling and detaining people. People know that when they come to this country, they're trying to come just for some fun and vacation. They don't want to be terrorized and questioned by ICE. And of course, and even at the border, we basically have put out the do not welcome sign, and people have gotten that message.
The U.S. is a fundamentally unsafe place to host the World Cup. We expect that there will be intimidation coming from ICE. We expect there to be resistance as local communities are raising the issues that these games pose for their constituents in those cities, those 11 cities where we have games in the United States of America. We have raised these questions often. We have made demands to move the games, but now the games are going to take place in the U.S. So we are now moving to consolidate mechanisms, processes to ensure that people's rights are going to be defended. We expect that because there's no constraints being placed on ICE by the national government, that there's no guarantees that ICE would not be unleashed in the stadium areas, in the communities around the stadiums. And we have to be prepared to address that. That is what we do as the North-South Project for People-Centered Human Rights, a project of the Black Alliance of Peace, and a participant in the Anti-Fascist Football Coalition. We are moving to put in place mechanisms to ensure that even though we are calling for an international boycott, that we're going to have the ability to respond to what we anticipate will be the violations of the rights of many of the people who live in the communities and who may even be visiting the U.S. to participate in the games. Everyone who does not represent as white in this white supremacist environment poses to the state a threat, and therefore can be subjected to intense harassment and the violation of their right to be. So we are going to oppose this activity, but we're going to also be in a place to try to ensure that the fundamental dignity and rights of individuals are protected during this World Cup experience.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.